about our curriculum, our teachers, our extracurriculars, our building. But before all of that, I have to start with really at the beginning and where the basis curriculum comes from. And that is going all the way back to the deserts of Arizona a little over 25 years ago, with a couple of parents who were looking for a school that was the right fit for them. So they were in Arizona, both economists. They were looking for a high school that combined the rigor and high expectations that the mother experienced while she was going to school in the Czech Republic, with the spirit of inquiry, of innovation that is so typified in the American, especially higher education system. As they looked around, they didn't see any school that matched that. So they did what any normal couple would do. They created their own. And that was really how basis curriculum schools were born. First as a high school, and then as a high school that helped students get ready for college, then a middle school that helped students get ready for that high school, and then primary grades that helped for middle school, and then last early learning program that readied students for the primary grades. And that was over 25 years ago. And now here in Basis Independent Bothell and at our Basis Independent schools nationwide, it has been very successful so far. Both the schools and the students have been successful. You can see some of the 2026 niche rankings here of some of the best private schools, some of the best private schools in their regions. You can see our sister school, Basis Independent Brooklyn, named as one of the best private high schools for STEM in New York. Our sister school in McLean, Virginia, being listed as one of the number one college prep high school in Virginia. And then over down in California, our Silicon Valley sister school being listed as one of the best high schools for STEM in the United States. Really, really positive stuff, really reflective of the high standards and the achievement that our students and schools are capable of. You can also see it somewhat in the next slide, which includes the college acceptances from our students last year. I must say, I cannot wait to get these numbers for 2026. It's always one of the most exciting days at any of our schools, is to see how our students do and what schools they're getting into, because that's one of the biggest indicators of the success of what we do, giving students access to the next step that will on their journey to whatever goal they have or what they want to become as adults. So on this slide, though, you can see two bars in red, and they're both really meaningful to me. So on the left, you can see that 17% of our students across all of our school, all of our seniors, gained acceptance to the top 10 U.S. News and World Report best colleges and universities. That's incredible. These are institutions that typically have acceptance rates in the low single digits. However, my favorite one here on this slide is actually the one for top 50. 91% of our students gained acceptance to the top 50 U.S. News and World Report best colleges and universities. What that tells me is that our schools are preparing students and putting students in a position to make sure that they're able to get into a program that is meaningful and fits them the best way possible. The fact is the top 10 or even the top 20 may not have the exact school that is a fit for every single student, and that's okay. However, within that top 50, you're guaranteed to find large state universities with fantastic programs. You're able to find small liberal arts universities. And with that 91%, we are able to say, if you join us through our program, if you take advantage of all the college counseling and support that we have at our school, we can make sure to have you in a program where you will be able to thrive, you'll be able to succeed, and you'll be able to really leave with a fantastic experience. Contributing to those acceptance rates, you can see on the side some of our average scores with AP scores, SAT scores, ACT scores, really, really high stuff. Of course, I think everyone on here is a good number of years away from high school, so I'll kind of move quickly past that. But it's really incredible what our students have been able to achieve. And I can really link those achievements back to the mission and philosophy that that we have, the mission that we share with all of our schools in our network, and really the philosophy that I've adapted from my time working at multiple other Basis Independent schools. So in bold, I've put a couple of things from our mission that are really, really meaningful to how things run at Basis Independent Bothell. First off, you can see in bold, our mission is to educate students to the highest international levels. That is the what of what we do. That guides everything we do. We want to make sure that our students have an incredible amount of are right up there with any student anywhere in the world. The way that we reach that goal is by having our curriculum prepare students with content knowledge, the ability to draw from many different areas of many different subjects, critical thinking, the ability to then take what they've learned across all of those different subjects and then apply them in unique contexts and to synthesize them to create their own meaning and their own understanding on their own. And then last, self-advocacy skills, the ability to take what they've learned, synthesize it, and then do something with it. Understand what's going on, understand how they fit within the larger world. And if they see something that's not going the way it should, being able to raise their hand, being able to stand up and describe what it is and how to make the world better. The way that we're able to do that is with our teachers, with our staff, our passionate expert teachers, this belief that we have together that with support, with encouragement, we can help any child excel. I think the slide moved a little early. And then also connected to that, like the way that we make all of that work is that joyful learning culture that we have. Because I got into education because I think learning is fun. It's it's so fun to be able to share what you've learned with someone else. And it's so fun to feel like you mastered something new. And that's something that our students get to do every single day, because all of this comes together with this main idea of we're not just graduating great students, people who know a lot and who can recite a lot. It's about graduating great people, no matter what. We are graduating students who feel comfortable, confident in their ability to interact with others and to make a difference. So I want to talk a little bit more about the curriculum, because you probably saw the word STEM in all of those niche rankings. And I always like to correct the record pretty early on. I'm sure you may have heard that we are a STEM school. I will say we are not. We are truly a liberal arts program, but we do have some really advanced STEM offerings. I strongly believe that our students should take a wide range of different subjects in order for them both to know themselves and know where their talents lie and know what their interests are, but also for the greater good of whatever subjects they choose to specialize in later. That additional context enriches every other subject, no matter what. Of course, our math is typically a year or two ahead of what you see in public school, and you'll see some of our science offerings later. Our curriculum, although we are in our first year here, our curriculum has been designed over 25 years, actually. And we've benchmarked it to some of the best systems in the world. I think the thing that makes us different, especially from other private schools, is first, a data-driven approach. I like testing. I think it works if the data that comes from those assessments is applied in a way that is solely interested in making sure that students get the help they need and that students are able to take the next step to get to whatever goal they have. Another thing is our scope and sequence is fully intentional and integrated from K through 12. There is a path that we have drawn all the way from when a student is 5 years old to when they're 18 years old. And what's even better is all of it is under one roof. So we're able to realize the benefits of connection between students of different ages. And it's also nice for parents, of course, where one drop off if you have siblings. Beyond that, we have advanced graduation requirements. You'll see a bit of it, but students are doing college level work as early as 9th grade. And then also, I think one of the most unique things is our two-teacher model, which I'll spend a good amount talking about because it is pretty unique to what we do. But before diving into exactly what the model is, I want to talk a little bit about the teachers and the philosophies we have. So at our school, we have subject expert teachers, learning expert teachers, early learning expert teachers. Expert is in the title for every single one of our teachers, and that's meaningful. We want all of our teachers to depend on their expertise and project their expertise, because we strongly believe that passionate expert teachers drive success. If students can trust in the expertise and believe in the passion and dedication of a teacher, they are going to be more invested in classes and they're going to be more likely to succeed. And that, again, like that satisfaction and excitement, that drives achievements for students, because they're willing to trust themselves, they're willing to take risks in order to grow. The way that we are able to attract such fantastic, expert, passionate teachers is what we can promise: autonomy. So we are, instead of scripting what their lessons are, instead our curriculum exists as a set of objectives. We say, like, all right, by the end of this year, students need to be able to do this. You have the freedom to take them on a journey that is unique to your classroom. And if you're a passionate expert teacher, that freedom is so valuable. Being able to decide what's best and how to help students rise to the occasion based on your own experience and your own expertise. And then the other thing that we do that really does attract fantastic teachers is what we promise: a commitment to lifelong learning. Like I said, learning is fun. That's why I'm in education. And one of my biggest things when I hire teachers for the school is making sure I find people that feel the same way, that being able to be in a place where we are concerned with consistently growing and saying, like, all right, we're good, what can we improve on next time, is a philosophy that we all share, and we also are able to rely on each other and collaborate with each other in order to grow even further. Now, the models in each of our grades are a little bit different depending on the grade. In our early learning program, pre-K and K, we have, for the core subjects, a co-teaching model where we have a lead teacher and a teaching fellow, where they're responsible for math, literacy, social studies, science, those subjects. For any of the specialty subjects that students take, they have a subject expert teacher that they rotate to with such as like engineering or art, etc. In grades 1 through 4, we have a true co-teaching model, which means we have a learning expert teacher and a subject expert teacher. Don't worry, this is a lot of terminology. I will show you even more about it. But those two teachers are in the classroom throughout the day, are with students in each of the subjects, and they are there to make sure that students are getting what they need. And I'll talk more about it in a second. In grades 5 through 8, our model shifts. Instead of having a 2-teacher model, we have a 1-teacher model in our classrooms, where beginning in first grade, of course, our students start walking around the school from subject to subject to subject. So they have a different teacher for each subject. In 5th grade, that continues, but beginning in 5th grade, students are walking around the school on their own from subject to subject to subject. It's an incredible amount of independence and trust that we put in our kids in 5th grade, but they really do rise to that challenge with the right support. That model continues in high school as well, where students are going from subject to subject to subject on their own. Now, let me jump into the 2-teacher model in primary grades, because, like I said, it's a little confusing. So the LET SET model consists of a couple different folks. So one teacher is a subject expert teacher. This is a teacher that has a classroom and teaches in their classroom their subject. So they might be an art teacher, they might be a math teacher, they might be a music teacher. Their responsibility throughout the day is to teach that subject to one grade or maybe a couple other grades as well. And they have an expertise or an advanced degree or real world experience in what subject they're teaching. The learning expert teacher is a little bit different. In grades 1 through 4, students do not stay in the same room throughout the day. Like I said, they move from classroom to classroom to classroom. So that learning expert teacher really is like a home room to that group of students, because they stay with that same group of students throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year. So they know them better than anyone else. It's basically like they're a learning specialist that is specifically focused on that one group of students. So as the students go to their classes throughout the day, that learning expert teacher serves as a connective tissue. And they actually collaborate with subject expert teachers to make sure that the lessons are appropriate for the exact students who are in the classroom. So to make sure that the lessons go as well as they possibly can. On the next slide, you can kind of see a bit more about how the LET and SET both differ and resemble each other. So on the left, you can see the LET, like I said, is the homeroom. They develop the culture of the school. They are focused on students' social emotional learning, their conflict resolution skills, their classroom management. They're the ones who parents talk to about students' overall performance and development. The subject expert teacher is really there for the content knowledge, for lesson planning, for organizing lessons to make sure that they are appropriate for the students and they meet those learning objectives that we have. Developing assessments. They're the ones who reach out to parents about a student's subject performance, if a student's having trouble with literacy, it'll be that English subject expert teacher reaching out. However, if you're taking a tour of our school, if you're walking around, you should be able to walk into one of these two teacher classrooms and not be able to tell the difference, because they're both responsible for differentiation. They're both responsible for presenting the lessons, because what this model does is allow students to see adults model a collaborative, fruitful relationship. And that's really, really special as they develop them in themselves, that ability to learn from and support each other. Now that we've talked a bit about that, I'm excited to get into what the curriculum looks like in each of our sort of groups of grades, because the division is a little interesting in our school. I'll start with our early learning program in pre-K and kindergarten. Pre-K, of course, is a half day, but they still get a significant amount of what we see here in kindergarten. So one of the biggest focuses, though, in these younger grades is to kind of turbocharge that curiosity that they bring into our school and keep that flame alive, where we are looking to make sure that these students are ready to take on the challenges that we have in our primary grades. So we are being able to make sure that we encourage that curiosity, that wonder, but also have the structure in place to make sure that students' literacy and numeracy skills are exactly where they need to, and also just personal independence are exactly where they need to be for when they go into first grade. So again, we have a two-teacher model, but the lead teacher in this model is responsible for math and literacy, with the teaching fellow responsible for social studies and science. The maximum number of students we have is 20. So with that two-teacher model, so a nice ratio of 20 to 2. And then our students, even in pre-K, take a full range of specialty classes from subject expert teachers, which I think is something really, really special and unique for us. So I'll shout out two classes that they take in our early learning program that I really love. First off, engineering. I think of engineering as like a growth mindset machine, because what students get to do in engineering in kindergarten is they get to work together, they get to collaborate, they get to try to solve a problem, make a plan, build something, have that inevitably fall apart, and then be able to have that moment of saying, what now? How do I change? How can this get better? How can it grow? And then they get to learn the grittiness of being able to come back from failure and then try to make something even better. Another thing I want to shout out that in kindergarten, and this is a thread that runs all the way through our school, is movement and PE. Our students in kindergarten have a movement class every single day. And for these young kids, that ability to move your body, understand how your body works and runs around, is so helpful for their physical health, but also for their emotional health and even their academic achievement, because being able to get that energy out really allows them to focus in class and be able to reach their academic goals moving forward. things shift a little bit. Like I said, in those primary years, instead of staying in the same classroom throughout the day, in the primary years, students have our two-teacher model, and they are now moving around the school for each of the different subjects that they take. And during these years, we are now kind of shifting from the foundational skills of classroom citizenship, being able to take care of yourself, being able to take care of friends, and now starting to focus on, all right, how do I work in this classroom? How do I learn how to take notes? How do I focus on my writing? How do I figure out, all right, what strategies are most helpful to me as a learner? So they start taking English, math, social studies, and science as distinct subjects in the primary grades. I'll also add that our math and literacy expectations are typically a year ahead of what you might find in public school. But they also do get that full suite of specialty classes like art, music, drama, engineering, and PE. Here, I really love to shout out our drama class because I love it because it really develops students and their voices. So if a student, if you're doing drama in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, it's a lot of what they're already doing. It's playing pretend. They're acting like dinosaurs or acting like animals on stage and trying to make each other laugh, or they're learning little scenes. But starting theater this early allows them to develop those public speaking skills, those presentation skills that really help them as they get into middle school and high school, and they have to start stepping in front of their classmates, start stepping in front of the school and performing and feeling the confidence in being able to do that. Another thing I want to shout out in our primary years is our language of choice. So in kindergarten through fourth grade, our mandatory language is Mandarin. You might ask, why Mandarin? And the main reason is really the linguistic benefits of taking a language like Mandarin, because Mandarin is so dissimilar from English because it's a tonal language. The writing system is different. The way the grammar is so different. And being able to learn a language that is so different than English imparts really great neurological benefits on students. So that is the reason we chose it. Of course, is it nice that students are also learning another language? Of course, yes, absolutely. And we do understand that some students come in with differing levels of Mandarin, as some may speak it at home. So we do also have some division where we have our Dragon and Tiger Mandarin. So in our Dragon groups, our students are focusing a lot more on writing and reading, where with our Tigers, maybe students who've never seen the language or not seen it as much, we're focusing a lot more on speaking and listening. And both are really, really enjoyable. And one of the most important things for me is also understanding, I make sure to bring students together in Mandarin, even if they are at a different level, because it also is important to not segregate the classes between language levels. So our students get lots of different opportunities to work together and perform together throughout the year. Shifting from first through third grade to fourth and fifth grade, we're now thinking about a shift from the concrete to the abstract. And what I mean by that is in first through third grade, a lot of the content knowledge is the who, the what, the where, the when, just trying to get a good grasp on the world around them, the what's of everything. And then as you shift from those grades to fourth and fifth grade, now we're getting into the why, the how. How do we apply what we've learned? How do things interact with each other? What is not being said? What connections can we draw ourselves? And so they get to start drawing their own conclusions and doing their own analysis. Still, though, we are focusing on mastering the basics, not just in class, but also out of class, focusing on executive functioning skills, both with the learning expert teacher and our dean. Also, there's a shift as we go on. So science becomes a daily class beginning in fourth grade, and it's a daily class in fifth grade as well. In fact, we have a little bit more of science even in fifth grade because we have one of my favorite courses, physical geography, which is kind of a hybrid science social studies class where students get to learn earth science, but they also get to see how that earth science shapes civilizations, how it shapes the world they know and the relationships between cultures. Really, really fun stuff. Things also shift a bit in fifth grade with history. So, with both history and language. So, after students wrap up Mandarin in fourth grade, they then switch to Latin. Latin in both fifth and sixth grade. The reason we choose Latin is it really does serve as a connective tissue between the other subjects students are taking. It's the language of science. It is the root for some of the more difficult to understand words in the English language. But also, if students choose to go on to French or Spanish later on, it is really helpful to have that Latin background to pick up those Romance languages too. Still, all the way through fifth grade, we are requiring those specialty classes like art and music and drama to really make sure that students have had that full experience and they really know what their interests are, where they lie, and like what they really want to commit to later on. Moving on to sixth grade, it is an enormous shift because now the disciplines that they're taking have a lot more specialization. In science, it is no longer a general science class. They are now taking physics, biology, and chemistry as discrete classes, each of them 3 hours per week for a total of 9 hours of science per week. It's also when students start getting also I should say in fifth grade is when students also start seeing some differentiation in math. So up through fourth grade, we have all students remain in one math class, and we rely on the two teachers in the classroom to provide differentiation. Beginning in fifth grade, if a student is ready to move up to a higher level of math, we will be able to allow it. We'll look at placement tests, we'll look at other data to kind of make that decision. So if, for example, a sixth grade student is ready for Algebra 1, we would be able to make that possible. Going on to also the choice that exists, the other sort of specializations. Beginning in sixth grade, students get to choose their own elective. Our electives are structured where students are able to take the elective for, every day throughout the entire school year. So they really get to dive deeply into whatever they choose. This year, some of our options were art, music, computer science, and drama. We're adding creative writing to our sixth and seventh grade electives for next year. And we're going to be adding even more as we add more students and sections. The choices continue in seventh grade as students also get the ability to choose what language they take. So rather than us prescribing Mandarin or Latin, students get to choose between Mandarin, Latin, French, and Spanish. And that's a path that they get to take all the way through high school. So by the time they're in 11th grade, they're taking AP level work in Mandarin or French or Latin or Spanish. But a lot of what we do in middle school is to start giving students exposure to kind of the situations that they might find in high school. So the expectation of independence, the expectation of executive functioning skills, but also the expectations of high stakes testing, being able to give students, being able to simulate an environment you might see like the AP or the SAT and get students used to managing their own time, their study skills, their emotions to prepare and succeed and thrive in those environments. So that way when they get to high school, they are ready to go and they're eager to demonstrate what they know. So continuing to high school though, I know we don't have any high school folks on here, but I'll speak briefly about it. Beginning in ninth grade, our students start doing honors level and AP level work because that's how much their middle school has prepared them. So again, students are doing a variety of different disciplines with the idea being that they are taking AP level coursework in at least their 4 core subjects and ideally through as many as they want to take and they feel they're capable of taking. The reason why we chose AP as a school is first off, it is the nationally accepted standard for a high school student's demonstration of college level work. But beyond that, we actually do a little bit of like an AP plus, meaning to say like the biggest criticism I'd say for AP is that it's a mile wide and an inch deep. There's a lot of different things that kids need to learn and they don't have much time to do it. So what we do actually is we stretch it. So instead of saying, all right, you have to learn all of it, AP English literature in 1 year, we stretch it across 2 years. So that way the students and the teachers have the flexibility to go off in interesting directions that kind of ignite their own sort of interest, passion, while still ensuring the students are learning everything that they need to learn to be able to be ready for, first, yes, the AP exam, but also for college, and being able to kind of take that next step in whatever they end up doing in college. With high school, we also will have a college counselor that spans all 4 years of the high school experience for our students. So students do not just start talking to a college counselor in 12th grade. That is a process that begins in 9th grade, as that counselor coordinates with universities for visits, both here on our campus, but also having students go out into the world and visit some campuses as well. And that includes a daily college counseling course in high school and in their senior year. And beyond that, also our senior year culminates in probably my favorite thing, which is it's really incredible stuff that our students have done. You can see a little bit more about the senior year on the next one, but it includes, like I mentioned, that college counseling course, the senior project, and also capstone courses, which are taught by our subject expert teachers in the areas where they got their master's degrees or their doctorates. It's really, really fun stuff, like French existentialism, what else? Biochemistry, neurology, really, really interesting, interesting stuff that really gives them a taste of what it's like to be a college student in their senior year. So I told you a good bit about our curriculum and about the pathway our students go on. We ask a lot of our students, and the reason our students are capable of achieving these incredible things is the culture of support that we nurture at our school. And you can really see that exemplified in the values that we've developed on our campus. Coral is what we call that. It is a coincidence that it has an aquatic theme similar to our orca, but it is curiosity, ownership, respect, advocacy, and loyalty. And we hold each of these equally important, because if a student is upholding all of these, they are going to be successful and thrive at our school. We want to encourage that curiosity, those whys, those hows. They matter so much. We want also to make sure that students understand that when they're a student here, they take ownership both of their own learning, but also of our campus, of being able to see what impact they can make here and make this school a better place for them and their friends. Respect, the respect we all hold for each other, the ability to not see learning as a zero-sum game, and that being able to respect what our friends are doing and seeing how they can grow and show kindness to each other. Advocacy, the ability to raise our hands, the ability to use our critical thinking skills to then come up with really great ideas and become thoughtful, active citizens, both in their community here at our school, but the community here in Bothell and the Puget Sound region. And then loyalty, just like the ability to stand by each other and collaborate. All of these together really help to create fantastic, supportive students. So, and it really does undergird everything that we do with our support system. Beyond our values, there are many different systems that we use to support our kids. I think the most visible probably is our communication journal, the CJ we call it. So this is it is what it looks like. It's a daily planner. All of our students beginning in kindergarten get a CJ, and the beginning of every class has students write down what the objective was in class, what their homework was in class, and they do this. And what it does is it allows students to start gaining understanding and control over their entire schedule, and it really develops that executive functioning skills. Because another big thing that happens at our school is we do not post homework online. We want to make sure that students have responsibility for it, so they are writing in their CJs. And then if a parent wants to know, hey, what do you have going on for homework tonight? Or what do you have due in a couple days? The answer is open up the CJ. You'll see it there. It's really, really special. And even then, like, Teachers can write notes to parents. Parents can write notes to teacher. It really keeps things student focused when it comes to responsibility, rather than just having a couple of adults exchanging words over email or through a learning management system where students are kind of divorced from what their work is. It really helps them feel integrated in the experience. Similarly, of course, a daily planner is not the only support we offer to our kids. We have our culture of support is there for our students, our parents, our teachers. We want this to be a place where everyone feels like they're growing. So you can see that our student affairs team is there to consistently monitor students and make sure they're getting the help and support they need. They monitor grades, they go in classrooms, they look at students both from an academic and a social emotional perspective. All of our teachers offer office hours. So being told to stay, hey, can you stay after school today to come to my class? That's us. That's us offering support. It is not a negative thing at our school. So if a student is struggling or just needs additional help or maybe missed a day, those office hours are really great, and they really do equip students with such confidence to advocate for themselves in high school, where they're used to taking advantage of office hours because they've been doing it for 10 years. We have a school counselor who's responsible for our social emotional learning curriculum at our school and making sure that our students are gaining all the skills they need to be healthy, successful college students and adults and beyond. Again, our school value of self-advocacy, encouraging our students to be able to stand up for themselves, and also peer tutoring, where we sometimes hearing from a friend, hearing from a peer, is the best way to kind of crack the nut of a topic that you haven't quite mastered. We also partner with parents. We provide help in talking about how we approach social emotional development at our school. We have parent-teacher office hours where we don't do conferences at our school. So we leave it to parents. If you want to meet with a teacher every month, you can do it. If you want to meet with a teacher once a trimester, you can. Once a year, okay, never. Totally up to you. So all of our teachers have 1 hour per week where they're available to speak with parents. I'd also add that we also have Bagel First Friday. Every month we actually have parents come into the school, and our administration goes over some of the things that we're building, developing at our school, and it's really fun to be able to then just also chat afterwards, share coffee, share a bagel, and catch up a little bit. Lastly, we also have lots of support for our teachers, where both we have teacher mentors on campus, we have subject advisors. So though this is a new school, we are able to rely on all of the decades of experience because we have so many people that we're connected to, so many people that are interested in making sure that our teachers and our students are successful on this campus. Of course, I've talked a lot about the academics of the school and the curriculum. That is only just part of it. The other part is the community that we create and build together. And I absolutely love the extracurriculars that we have on our campus. So on the next slide, you can see a lot of the things that we are planning on offering next year. Academic, really, really heavily academic clubs like competition coding and chess, and of course our math competitions, which some of our students have already been winning regional competitions, but also athletics. So having a volleyball team, a soccer team, a basketball team, even for our younger students, helping them to develop those skills early on so that way they'll be ready to join those teams when they get into middle school and high school. It's really fun. Then we also have fun, silly clubs. One of my biggest goals for you as a parent is, if you join us as a school, I do not want you to be driving around Bothell, Kirkland, Redmond, Linwood, Mill Creek to do a bunch of activities. I'm hoping that this is a one-stop shop for you where, all right, you drop your child off and we'll have really fun things for them to do after class that will be really fulfilling. So that way your life is a little bit easier. I do want to shout out the World Travelers Club and the Latin Lab. They just, a few weeks ago, they just came back from a trip to Italy to be able to actually use their Latin skills and see. They were able to go to see Mount Vesuvius, and they were able to go to Pompeii and see the writing in action. Really, really incredible stuff, and the ability to apply what they've learned in a really cool, unique context. And I know later on they're planning on traveling again It's really great stuff. On the next slide, you can see some examples of some of the things that we're already doing as a campus and where we're aiming to be, where we have those athletics, we have those interactive activities, we have performances where we bring our entire, we had our Lunar New Year celebration back in February, and it was so incredible. We brought together our entire school, and our students got to perform in front of everyone. It was an amazing experience. My jaw was dropped the entire time to be able to see what those kids had prepared and kind of being able to see them celebrate together. But that's really the goal of what we're building here this year, is developing that culture of inquiry across all the grade levels, celebrating those creative achievements of our kids through plays, performances, fine arts festivals, talent shows, being able to have students be athletes too, being able to take advantage of our incredible facilities, having students take advantage also, of course, the fact that we are a K-12 school, so we get to have buddy grades between all of the different grade levels. And then also just find ways for us to also come together as a community. So school carnivals, mixers, field trips, spirit days. I can remember we had Holy last week where a bunch of parents came in and we did a color run at the end of the day. World Fest, which is probably my favorite event of the entire year, where we get to celebrate the diversity that we have on our campus, where we had between our families and our faculty, I think we had more than 25 or 30 countries and regions from around the world represented, and we all got to learn a lot about where we all come from and really see also both the similarities and both how our similarities and differences make all of us stronger. And then also just, again, creating traditions year over year that we can return to and grow. I'm really looking forward to developing a pod system, like a house system, in the next couple of years, because that's really what our school culture is and what I want it to be moving forward. It's first off, it's a place where students feel like they belong. No learning can happen if students do not feel like they belong. Second, it's a place where both students and teachers feel like they can reach their potential. And lastly, it's a place where parents know they are instrumental in building these foundations, because this is something that we get to build together. It's so exciting. Thank you for letting me go on for a little bit and listening to me. I'm going to throw over to Abisoy to tell you a little bit about how to join.
Thank you so much, Mr. Runyon. Thank you. We would love for you to join our community. We are still accepting applications. We are on rolling admissions right now, so we're still accepting applications until our spaces are full. So if you haven't already, please go to our website and you can start the application process. We also invite you to visit our school. The best way to see everything in action, and like what Mr. Runyon has said, is to actually see it in person on campus. So it's a great opportunity to learn in person. We have lots of events coming up. Our next event, if you're a pre-K parent, we have a pre-K coffee morning on Wednesday next week. You can sign up for it on our website. It's a way for you to come to our school in person, and you get to talk with us and find out more about the school, have a tour of our proposed pre-K area. So we encourage you to visit. We are going to move into our Q&A now. Yes, and we have 2 questions in our Q&A section now. The first question is for pre-K, what is the age range of students in one classroom? So for our pre-K program, students have to be 4 years old by August 30. August 31. So that is the age range. They have to be 4 years old. So there will be some students that will be 3 turning 4, but they all have to turn 4 by August 31. The next question is, do we have a library? Mr. Runyon, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay.
So at this time, we do not have a school-wide library, but we do have classroom libraries in each of our classes, and already our students are doing. There's also our dean and our director of student affairs have their own libraries in their offices. So we already are seeing a good number of students doing some book borrowing, even though we do not have a formal library space or even a library period in our schedule. Like we are committed to making sure that there are books that are exciting, but also like appropriate to some of the themes that we have throughout the school year in those classes, that students are able to get those experiences. And I get to read in the class, which is my favorite thing.
Thank you, Mr. Runyon. For pre-K, do you follow a systematic approach to teaching kids to read or a more discovery-based approach? What percentage of the day is dedicated to structured academic fundamentals versus free play?
That's a great question. So because it is a half-day program and because we have so much we cover during it, it is mostly devoted towards, it's a pretty highly scheduled half day where students, we have specific time devoted towards literacy, and we have specific time devoted towards math, towards snack, lunch, recess, movement, art, music, drama, engineering. All of that is scheduled in there somewhat tightly. There is open free play, like as I said, there's a couple of different recesses, there's movement, but it is somewhat tightly scheduled. Similarly, we use Logic of English, a phonics-based program, as our primary text, not the only text in our literacy, and that goes all the way through second grade in order to help develop students' literacy. So as a percentage, I haven't done the math, but it is certainly not a fully discovery-based approach to being just saying, for example, just saying, pick up the book, see what you see. We are directing students to start learning pretty early on in both kindergarten, even pre-K. Letters, letter sounds, how to blend letters in order to make sure that they're able to read pretty fluently and start really writing fluently by the time they're in first grade.
Thank you, Mr. Runyon. Can you share some information on extended hours / fees for kindergarten? We can follow up with this in a message to you. Thank you. Okay, there's no more questions in the Q&A. In the absence of questions, we will be wrapping up this session. Thank you very much for attending. We're very grateful that you took the time out of your day to join us today.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to learn more about us. Always happy to share more with the admissions team is here, and I hope to see you around our campus soon.
Thank you. Bye.